afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the government whip, third speaker of today's debate. We, the government team, strongly propose the motion, which is the UN should intervene in Syria. We, the government, strongly stand for this motion. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, before I move on, I'd like to emphasize and accentuate the point that our government prime minister has defined the motion in a way that where the opposition cannot state their first argument, which is spillover. The government prime minister of our team has claimed that intervention, we have defined intervention as negotiation and the construction of and establishing constitutions in Syria for the development of the nation's economic prosperation, not supporting them, being belligerent and supporting war. Therefore, we, the government, strongly believe that their first assertion of spillover and their concerns about the spread of war is irrelevant to the motion. Moving on. We, the government, would like to refute against all the assertions that the opposition team has previously proposed. First of all, the opposition team strongly refuted our first assertion about the UN's purpose of inauguration and the purpose of establishment by claiming that peace means a different thing from what we, the government, define peace as. They claim that peace means providing aid to Africa and not preventing war in Syria. However, ladies and gentlemen, utter nonsense. It is ridiculous to claim that preventing war and stopping war, abrogating all the deficiencies of Syria isn't peace. To claim this isn't peace is simply ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. So it sounds to us, the government, that the opposition team is claiming because of all these circumstances that might occur, the UN should not support Syria in preventing war and for the well-being of their citizens, ladies and gentlemen. They claim that the UN can't afford to help all refugees because there are simply too many. Utter nonsense again, ladies and gentlemen. Because there are too many refugees, to claim that because there are too many refugees, the UN should not engage in such helping would be ridiculous, because the UN is, as we claimed earlier on, the UN's purpose of inauguration was to bring all nations together for peace and development based on the principles of justice, human dignity, and the well-being of every single person, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, to claim that the UN should not engage because, there are too many refugees, so we cannot help all of them would be ridiculous, because the UN should try their best in helping and supporting every single member of Syria, even if it's not possible, emphatically, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on, the opposition team also claimed that you can't stop the whole conflict, and therefore, again, we should not engage in such deeds. However, once again, utter nonsense. Just because this can't help a whole doesn't mean the UN should not pursue such deed in helping the majority of the civilians in Syria these innocent civilians that are suffering and agonizing in abject poverty, simply because the UN hasn't helped and engaged in such deeds yet. Moving on to their refutation against our third assertion about the proposed notorious effects on Iraq, ladies and gentlemen, we, the government team, clearly stated that because the war has spread to the border between Iraq and Syria, citizens and innocent civilians in Iraq are suffering, and that officials of Iraq have expressed their concerns on such matters of war spreading into Iraq as well. However, ladies and gentlemen, they claimed that spread of war all over the world and the spread of war to Iraq is different, and they minimized our argument, ladies and gentlemen. However, for us, it sounds like we accentuate the matter of time frame, ladies and gentlemen. The time frame of Iraq being agonizing universities and abject poverty because of the war in Syria is now, ladies and gentlemen. The time frame is now, even though the magnitude may be minimized. In addition, they're concerned about the spreading of war all over the world. However, we, the government, have realized that the opposition has used the word might and can quite often, which means that they're not sure and they haven't provided any factual evidences on if this incident will actually occur in reality. Therefore, because Iraq, the border, this intervention of Iraq suffering because of the war in Syria, the time frame is now, and it is actually happening. We, the government, have provided factual evidences to support our argument, and the opposition has not. We strongly believe that we, the government, have spawned this assertion. Moving on, Syria, the opposition team also claimed that their second assertion was about sovereignty and about how the Syrian citizens, we need permission from the Syrian citizens and their government for the UN intervention. However, ladies and gentlemen, nonsense once again, Syria is a member of the UN, and when you apply as a member of the UN, there is a condition of becoming a member of the UN is to work as hard as to do your best in maintaining peace in relations with other countries and your country within yourself as well, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, there's no need for such permission. In addition, we'd like to accentuate our point upon the fact that we define intervention not as supporting war with troops, but negotiation and constructing and supporting the country, the nation, economically by inaugurating and establishing constitutions for the well-being of Syria. In addition, the purpose of the UN's inauguration was for the rights of people, which includes Syrian civilians as well as an example, refugees. Just because just because of their object milieu and their object circumstances does not mean that the UN should not intervene in such and engage in such deeds, because the UN's purpose was to help all nations pursue peace and well-being. Therefore, because we the government strongly believe that the UN must take action for Syria is a member of the UN, and because we have defined the motion not as being belligerent and supporting war, but negotiating, and because the economy of the exports of Syria and the economy and the well-being of the world's economic status is very important to the well-being of all nations around the world, we, the government, strongly support the motion, which is the UN should intervene in Syria. Thank you for listening.